to create a box somewhere here. So that's fine. I can see that my visual style is actually a wireframe, so I'm just going to change it real quick to modeling. Okay, so what are the important things when it comes to selecting entities? Well, we have lots of options because, yeah, when you're doing 3D, you need a lot of options. There's a lot of different dimensions that you are going to be accessing your entities. So if you, I'm just going to refer real quick here on our PDF. That's in section 4. Here I'm going to go over the selection modes. So at the very top, you can, by the way, I'm on modeling space. So of course, it depends which workspace you're in. So it might change a little bit the ribbon, the tools. I suggest you do the modeling workspace. So it's a bit easier to follow along. So you get the same view as I do. If I come here to the top, we have these little 3 icons here. And if I hover, you can see the little tip that says enable the boundary. So this one right here enables the boundary detection. Here I enable the face selection, and here is for the edges. Often I have, if I'm just doing 3D, pure 3D, if I'm not starting my model from 2D entities, then I make sure that everything is off. And if I type selection mode, you can see now that the variable is 0, which means again that I'm not, the only priority I'm given on my selection is to an entire solid. So if I hover my mouse, what you're going to see is it's going to highlight this solid as blue. So when I select, it selects the entire solid. So I'm just gonna maybe copy the solid just to show the different options that we have, right? And now let's say I would change the selection mode. I'm gonna now enable the faces, and I'm just doing that once again here from the very top. I'm just gonna do this one. You can also see on my command line, when I'm just gonna extend it, that is now on 2. So if you work with variables and commands, so you can just do the 2, and now you're given a priority to select faces. So now if all I'm doing is hovering my mouse through the solids, and is now, instead of highlighting in blue, it's going to highlight in orange. So those are the faces. Now I'm going to change to edges, turn off the faces. So now either it highlights the edge, or if I hover through a face, it's just gonna take the whole solid. So if I come close to the edge, it highlights in orange. If I come just anywhere in the solids, then it does the face. I can do combinations of them. So for example, now I'm giving priority to my faces, and then the edge, and last will be a solid. So now whenever I hover through those entities that I want to select, it's going to highlight them easily. So as you can see, this is my edge. Here is then my face. And you can, of course, again, change your selection mode to 0. So now you have access to the solid. But actually, depending on which phase cycle of your model you're in, if you edit it in phases, you might want to leave this combination on. And then if at some point you want to select an actual solid, like the entire solid, then you will click the key control. And now when I hover, it's blue. So this is without pressing the control key and having the selection mode. Let's expand it again. My selection mode is on 3, which means the combination between face and edge. And if I select a face, if I want a solid, I click control, and now I have my solid. So you can toggle through your through your selection as well with the control key. It's the same thing if I were to have only solid now. I can now toggle, instead of giving priority to the solid, I can temporarily ask to give priority to a face by clicking control. So now I get to click the face. Now, there's also something you should be aware, and that is selecting the entities. It works a little bit the same way as it would be with 2D entities. So let's take a look at the top view. When you select into the entities, you're aware that if you come from the left to right, you have to make sure everything is on that window. While if you do left to right to left, then it only needs is anything that is within that window, it will be selected. So for example, if I do this, and now it selects everything. And something that might like help you to remind yourself on your selection is the fact that they are different colors. So when I'm selecting from left to right, is on blue, and when I'm selecting from bottom from right to left is in green. So blue has to be in the entire window to be selected, otherwise it's not going to select it. And if it's green, all you need is anything overlapping that window. Now, the extra thing you should know from the 3D is so same thing, it behaves the same way. So if I'm overlapping with the blue, it's not going to take it. I have to make sure it's entirely on that window. And if I do the green, it works the same way with the 2D entities. Sorry, I see there's a question. Yes, like I said, it is indeed something familiar to the 2D, just trying to make a connection so it's easy for people to remember. And now for the 3D, when you do a selection, what is extra is, as you can see here, the hotkey at the bottom is giving you some extra info. And what it means, if you were to now toggle through those selections with the control key, now if I do this, is only going to select the faces. Maybe I would do it again, but from a different angle so you can see what happens. So if I toggle, I get the feedback that is now on the faces. So if I do that, you can see only selected the faces. Of course, this one selected all the faces because it was on that blue window. And if I do this again, but now I'm going to toggle through until I'm on the edges. So now it's only going to select the edges. So this is very handy to be a bit faster when it comes to editing certain entities.